Hi guys, I guess I'm live. Give me some signs of life there. Give me a virtual thumbs up if you can hear me. The sound is good. And the video. Diego, good question. Let's see if we can get to that today. Why are bananas not straight? Hi, John. Bob. Is this the Bob I know that I chat too often? Let's see how many people we have in the room. Good, we got 52 people in climbing. I unfortunately had to cancel the last week's webinar. I was a sick puppy. And you see, this is what happens when I get sick. I don't have the will to shave. So every time I get sick, I grow a beard. Tell me where you guys are from. I'll let you in on a little secret, Diego. I'm not as big of a geek as I make out to be in my book and my writing and all of that. I ordinarily wouldn't have that geeky superhero poster. I just got it for the webinar. So that's my dirty little secret. Hi, Beth from New Jersey, Brian from Milwaukee. We've got some people from Canada, Netherlands. Awesome to have you guys. Give me a show of how many people are repeat attendees. How many of you guys have attended before? Maybe this is your second or third webinar. Oh, Wasim, hi, from Brazil to Wasim in Pakistan. I think he's been to all three. John, great that you've been to all three now. Okie dokie. While we're getting settled in, I'm going to load up a poll. And since this is about the Kanban calendar, that's how I organize my tasks in WorkFlowy, predominantly. I've written a lot about it. I do use other methods, but that's predominantly what I use, the Kanban calendar. I've got a little video prepared for you guys today with some resources and stuff. But let me just get this poll going. The question is, how do you keep track of your tasks in WorkFlowy? So there's 5 options. You can choose one of them. And let me start the poll. We've got 4 options. I'm sure a lot of you do your tasks. You organize your tasks in WorkFlowy. And the 4 options are using date tags, a chronological calendar, simple to-do lists, or some other application outside of WorkFlowy. Maybe you guys use Evernote or Todoist or Trello or something like that. It looks like most people use simple to-do lists. So I'm going to give this a few more seconds, and then I'm going to end the poll. You'll see the results along with myself. Beth says paper and pencil. Sorry, Beth, I didn't have your option. And John uses a mixture of the first 3. You've got to be flexible in this day and age. I like what Beth says, pen and pencil. Very rarely, I do use these sticky notes and I just scribble on there. But most of the time I get my stuff into WorkFlowy. Okay, let me go back to this poll and close the poll, end the poll, and you'll see 43% of you use simple to-do lists. I'm guessing that's in WorkFlowy. 18% a chronological calendar. That 18%, you might be familiar with, or I might have convinced some of you to move over to the Kanban calendar, sort of like a Tickler File calendar in WorkFlowy. 20% use date tags. I consider people who use date tags for organizing your tasks to be some of the smartest people out there. Probably a lot of you are programmers and whatnot, really technical jobs. You know how to manage tags. So age says paper and pencil too to stay sane. Well, Beth, welcome. One or two people have called me the WorkFlowy guru, but I wouldn't go so far as to say that. I just do what I can. I write about the stuff that I do in WorkFlowy. But it's nice to have you, Beth. Welcome to the WorkFlowy community as well. Carol uses the bullet journal on the iPad. Okay, so I guess most people who are going to come have already logged in. We've got about 62 people. I'm going to flip straight to the first little video that I have prepared for you. It's a pre-recorded video, simply because the quality is a lot better. I've injected it into the webinar, and it's about 8 minutes. After those 8 minutes, I'm going to be back with you. We're going to do some Q&A. I've got some resources for you, some links, and stuff like that. So let's head on over to the first video called the Kanban Calendar. That's a little name that I coined, and there's a reason why Kanban is mixed up in all of that. So let's load this video and see you on the other side. The secret to understanding the WorkFlowy Kanban calendar would be to compare it to the Tickler file. This is what a physical Tickler file looks like. As you can see, the Tickler file was patented way back in 1888. It was originally a system of physical folders, one for each day of the month ahead, allowing one to file documents to a future date on which they needed to be acted upon. These documents could be to-do lists, bills to pay, upcoming birthdays, coupons, follow-up reminders, etc. Each day, the folder with today's date is pulled from the Tickler file, and any documents within it are brought into one's workflow. Basically, what a Tickler file does is it allows you to set up a manual, hands-on reminder for future tasks, which will stream towards you one day at a time. Setting up a Tickler file in WorkFlowy does not quite replace an actual calendar. So why keep two calendars? I mean, a calendar as well as a Tickler file. Here's an example of my weekly evening teaching schedule from about 2 years back. We all know that a traditional calendar is perfect for scheduling time-specific tasks. On the other hand, most calendars are limited when it comes to having a holding space for a to-do list of items that are date-specific, yet not time-specific. You see, we don't want to have to schedule every single item into our calendar when we neither know how long it'll take to complete each, nor when exactly the best time would be to focus on each, especially days or weeks in advance. So a Tickler file, besides holding documents, whether physical or digital, serves as a roundup of your life's miscellaneous tasks. So that's the why. Now, here's the how. The how is really embarrassingly simple. So from my homepage, let's go along to my Kanban calendar. At the top of my calendar outline, I've got my Eisenhower matrix. I'm going to pull some tasks into here in a bit. Now, further down, you can see I've set up a chronological list of dates for February and March. All I really need are the next 30 days, just like with the Tickler file. I'm going to go ahead and change the date on my Eisenhower matrix. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull all of the items from Thursday into my Eisenhower matrix. Now, just give me a second while I group these items according to importance and urgency. Here's a little CSS trick that allows me to use a tag to get two columns. Ordinarily, the Eisenhower matrix would show as a quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. But for now, we're going to stick to a linear format. Actually, I prefer this. Now, let's come over here and delete this date so that the next day up is Friday the 24th. And right at the top here, we've got Thursday the 23rd. I have a lot of recurring tasks that repeat weekly or monthly, so I simply recycle the tasks from my Eisenhower matrix once I'm done. I have to make sure that I have enough money in my PayPal account each 23rd of the month to pay for my Squarespace subscription. And then every Thursday, I try to do a bit of yoga with the P90X program. So let's recycle these quickly because I'm done with them. Many of my tasks are color-coded with a tag that means something to me, and then some of them form categories. For example, if I hit this blue P90X tag, you can see how the P90X workout routine is spread out. And then if I hit my expense tag, I'll get a list of my general expenses spread out throughout the month. The Kanban calendar really shines when it comes to personal miscellaneous tasks. Even if you prefer to use date tags to consolidate your project tasks, at the very least I recommend having a Kanban calendar for personal miscellaneous to-do items. At the moment, I actually have a second Kanban calendar set up. I use this one for things related to the WorkFlowy Academy. Here you can see I've scheduled a webinar for February 23rd. Also, notice how I've included a tag as part of the date. February 22nd, February 23rd, 24th, etc. I'm experimenting with using date tags as a way to filter for specific dates across my main Kanban calendar and any other calendars for specific projects, like this one. Here on my home page, tucked away in a list at the bottom, I have a date tag index. I've arranged a set of date tags by month, just like a calendar. Let's click on Tuesday, 28th of February. Here's my general Kanban calendar, and here's my WorkFlowy Academy Kanban calendar. I could now zoom in on either of them, but let me expand the two lists instead. Now I can see all tasks scheduled for next Tuesday. The one outstanding side effect of having a Kanban calendar is that you can literally say goodbye to lists of backlogged tasks. If you cannot or don't want to deal with any number of tasks right now, instead of putting them into lists somewhere, you can push them to the future really easy. That's the advantage of having a Tickler file. Let's zoom into this version of my general Kanban calendar. This one has date tags set up. So let's say I'm having a rough time today. I could just take these three tasks here and move them to tomorrow. Or I could just move them to next month sometime. It's just like hitting the snooze button or snoozing an email. You can then give these tasks your attention at a better time. By the way, this and other similar dynamics make this a Kanban calendar. Here we draw on the Kanban principles of pushing and pulling so that we can limit our work in progress and focus on the most important things right now. And of course, WorkFlowy does a bang-up job of letting us visualize our workflow. All right, and we're back. That was a mouthful, right? There's a whole lot of stuff happening there. If you guys have questions, I've got one more little video for you guys. We're going to do some Q&A after that. I've got some resources. Don't panic that not only is there going to be a replay of this webinar, and I know it's difficult to rewind with the replay, but at the end of this webinar, I think at the close of about 25, 30 minutes, I'm going to give you guys a shared WorkFlowy list, and it has the actual YouTube videos. So you can stop, start, you can pause, you can take your time looking through the videos. Wasim, thanks. Michel, I don't know if it's a French Michel or Michael. He asks, how do you get color tags? And a lot of people have been emailing me comments on the YouTube videos that I've been creating. A lot of people have been asking about colored tags. And I thought I'd put that together. So that's the little other pre-recorded video I've got for you. But I just want to take a look and see if there's any preliminary comments that you guys have on this. We're going to do a Q&A about tasks in general in WorkFlowy. And maybe I can learn something from you guys too. But I'm going to be talking about answering some questions, some Q&A about the Kanban calendar in a little bit. But any preliminary comments about that, so I can just get the brain working and think of anything else I might have skipped out on, anything that might have been over the top of anybody's head, please mention it there in the comments box. Yes, Wasim, Painter for WorkFlowy. I've written about that. It's so simple. It's a little Chrome extension, unfortunately just on Chrome, but luckily I use Chrome. Chris says, looked like a mild overload for me. That's a lot of tags to set up. Oh, forget about the tags. Don't worry about the tags. The main thing was having a simple chronological to-do list in the shape of a Tickler file or a calendar. Colored tags, those mean a whole bunch of things to me. They might be confusing. And if I was to look at somebody else's list, it would look a little confusing to me with all those colors. Forget about the colors. Those are my little tags. That wasn't really part of the actual teaching, the main teaching point for today. Rich asked a good question. Frank, do you use tags in WorkFlowy to parallel tags in other tools? I once upon a time used Evernote a whole lot. I had a lot of stuff I was writing in Evernote, and I used to have a WorkFlowy tag, various WorkFlowy tags in Evernote, and I had this whole workflow dynamic going. But since moved over, everything I write, everything I do is in WorkFlowy. So that's a really good question. I did have something to mirror material that I had in WorkFlowy, and I had this little cross-pollination thing going. Nice, Carol. I'm not sure what new ideas you've seen here, but because this is the simplest of the most simple dynamics, the Kanban calendar. Basically put a month of dates into WorkFlowy, and Bob's your uncle. Martin, yes, I got your email, answered it really quickly about a couple of hours ago. And I know you've paid for the 36 plus package, and so that's on the way. I'm actually posting it on the private playlist, the YouTube playlist. I'm going to upload it to Dropbox for you guys. You'll have that at your disposal, but I'm also making it available for everybody who's attended the webinar. Yeah, the colored tags thing. We're going to look at that right now. It's so simple. Martin, you're going to take a look and you're going to see that right now. Okay, so by the way, a friend of mine, Robites, he encouraged me to play my harmonica a little bit on the webinar. I didn't actually play it live right now. If we have any requests, I could do that. But you would have noticed in the video and the one coming up, there's a little harmonica riff. I play the harmonica. I had such headaches with copyright stuff, trying to get the right jingles and the right melodies and stuff to accompany the intros for my videos. I just thought, what the heck, let me play on the harmonica. So those are my little riffs, my little jingles, my little tunes. And I've got those. I've got different riffs at the beginning of every little WorkFlowy Academy screencast that I'm doing, that I'm putting out. It's just something extra, something fun. All right, so I'd like to jump over to, I'm going to look at these comments while I play the next video. I'm going to load up another video for you, how to get colored tags in WorkFlowy. It is so simple. And custom colored tags. You can create any color you want, any tag you want. Let's load this video. And we'll see you at the end of about 6.5 minutes. Here's the how of setting up colored tags in WorkFlowy. Keep in mind that this is predominantly a desktop browser thing. You're going to be wanting to use WorkFlowy in your desktop browser for about a bazillion things, and this is just one of the bazillion reasons why. Now, I'm not into design and aesthetics, but I did do a quick Google search for a set of colors that supposedly go nicely together. It's what you call a color palette. Here's my color palette for a couple of my key WorkFlowy tags I use throughout my account. Here on my WorkFlowy homepage, you've already seen my set of colored tags right at the top. These colors are from the color palette I just showed you. The reason for having these specific color tags is purely because I like color. Most people do, but in future screencasts, I'll be talking about some very practical reasons for using color tags in different situations, beyond just looking pretty. So right now, I'm going to walk you through how to get any color you want for any tag. Here's my work in progress tag. Let's zoom into this colored tags demo list, and I'm going to zoom in to about 200%. First, you're going to need to install a browser extension called Stylish. It's available for Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Opera. Now here on the userstyles.org site, by the way, all of these links are in the description box, I'm going to click on Stylish for Chrome. Here you'll see I've already added it to Chrome, and here's my little icon for Stylish. Now, together with the Stylish extension, you're going to need to install a style that I've created on userstyles.org. The link is in the description box, by the way. You're going to hit this Install with Stylish button, and OK. So we're going to come back to our WorkFlowy tab quickly, and click on the Stylish icon, and we're going to look for the style just installed. And we're going to click on Edit. Oh, by the way, just jumping back to our WorkFlowy tab for a second, you'll see that we've got some color going there. So let's explain what's happening here. Let's jump back to our style. Now, this may look a little intimidating at first, but actually there's just two little simple steps. I've set up a little bit of code for each tag. I'll go ahead and highlight it right there. First things first, what you're going to want to do to give your tag a name is change the title. Here I've called it tag1. You could use a hashtag or an @sign. The other thing to change up is the background color. Take a look at this little 6-digit hexadecimal code. It's a combination of letters and numbers. Let's just jump back to our WorkFlowy tab quickly. And you'll see that tags 9 and 10 don't have a color. So let's give them a color. You can see I've got code set up for tags 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But I've got nothing set up for 9 and 10. So let's just copy all this code for tag 8, Control-C, and paste Control-V. So let's change tag 8 to tag 9. Let's just hit the Save button here, head on back to our WorkFlowy tab, and you'll see that tag 8 is the same color as tag 9. Let's come back here. We're going to give it its own color now. There are actually two different ways to get a color. We could use one of the 147 available CSS color names, or we could use a hexadecimal code. Let's go for the former first. So I'm going to change cornflower blue for something else. Let's take a look at this site here. That's also in the description box under the video. Let me scroll down here, take a look at a couple of names. You've got crimson, dark gray, dark khaki. Let's go for something orange. Tomato. There we go. That's one of the color names. Tomato, tomato. Let's come back here and change cornflower blue for tomato. Let's hit save. Come back to our WorkFlowy tab, and tag 9 is now the color of tomato. Let's come back and edit. Let's create a new tag. Let's copy this, paste it, change this to tag 10. And this time I'm going to find hexadecimal code. There are a lot more of those. Let's take a look. Let's come along to this HTML color codes chart and randomly select a color I might find interesting. Here that's been highlighted. Let's copy that. That's hashtag FF00FF. Come back to our code here. And instead of tomato, I'm going to pop in that color code, hit save. And here we have our shocking pink tag, whatever that color is called. So just to repeat, in any block of code here, you can change the color, which might be the name of a color or the name represented by a hexadecimal code. And also don't forget to change up your tag name. You can call it anything you want. Now, here's something fun. Have you ever exploded tags? Hold down your Alt key and click away. You can explode them one by one. And we're back. Eric, he asks, anybody recommend a site for color palettes? I just Googled it. And then I went to Google Images, pulled off something that looks like the sort of colors that I might want to put together with a group of tags. And I grabbed those colors from some sites. Google's your friend. By the way, there was like probably 3, 4, 5 different links of sites and resources for that particular video. I'm going to share with you a list right now, a WorkFlowy shared list. Not only does it have the, let me just display this quickly. Kanban Calendar shared list. That's basically a shared list. And okay, when you click on that shared list, it says WorkFlowy shared list, a little orange button. When you click on that, it's going to open up a new tab. Don't worry, it's not going to close the webinar out. That's going to have all of the resources for this webinar. So I know it says Kanban Calendar shared list, but it also has the resources for the colored tags, all of the resources, the sites, the userstyles.org site, where you get the colors from, the little style that I created. And it also has, let me just take a look and see here to jog my memory. It has the Kanban Calendar Basics, the video. So actually in that list, just click on it, save it to your WorkFlowy account, save it somewhere, bookmark it, and it's got both of the videos that you guys just saw. So you can go through that at your own leisure, take your time, especially with the tags thing. There's a little bit of technical stuff for those who've never played around with CSS. You don't need to understand code, you just need to follow instructions. It's like making pancakes. The other thing I forgot to tell you about was automating the Kanban calendar. Way back, I used to manually type out all of the dates and days of the week, etc. And that didn't take too long. But a couple of months back, I did a blog post on that. In that shared list, you'll have a link to the blog post and a shared list of what I like to call the forever calendar. It's basically a list of all the possible combinations of days of the month and days of the week that could ever exist from here until eternity. So there's a link to that shared list. Add it to your WorkFlowy account. And if you're using the Kanban calendar or you're thinking of moving over to that or testing it out, testing the waters, there's a way to automate it. There's a couple of hundred, the thing I wanted to mention was there's a couple of hundred different bullets in that specific shared list. If you're not a WorkFlowy Pro user, don't worry. I just discovered fairly recently that no matter how big the list, a shared list that you're embedding into your account that somebody else shares with you, it doesn't count towards your monthly limit. So I think there's something like 250 lists a month limit for those who are on the freemium version of WorkFlowy. And so that's quite a limit, a serious limit. And once again, if you add that forever calendar template, the list, that shared list into your WorkFlowy account, it's not going to eat up your your limit, your list limit per month. All right, and let me come back here. Take a look at some comments. Rich says he loves exploding tags. Yeah, it'd be nice if they were in other apps, but it doesn't have to be an industry norm if you're only using WorkFlowy. So you can forget about the others. What Todoist, Trello? Come on, Rich, come on, get with it and do everything in WorkFlowy. I think you've got the mind to wrap your mind around doing this. I'd like to see a show of virtual hands. Who does totally all of their tasks in WorkFlowy, whether it's collaborating with other people, projects, personal, miscellaneous stuff? Give me a digital show of hands here. Yeah, Rich, you do have an open mind. Oh, wow, you tried to embed the Game of Thrones list? That's like a couple of 100,000 bullets. Because it's like all of the subtitles that existed for like 5 or 6 seasons of Game of Thrones. That's quite heavy. Wasim says about 60%. Come on, Wasim, let's get up there. 100% of your stuff in WorkFlowy. Consolidated under one roof, you'll be able to sleep better at night, less panic attacks, all of that. Oh yeah, Slack is just good for it's good for a lot of things, but it's good for live real-time talking. There's a Slack group, a WorkFlowy Slack group, and it's plodding along. People ask questions. I chip in now and then, but it's a nice little WorkFlowy community going there. Okay, so it's now 4:33 for me in Brazil. That means we've hit the half-hour mark, and officially, this is just about everything I needed to say or wanted to say in this webinar. I'm going to open this up for Q&A. We can talk about tasks in general. I think we've already started the Q&A. And what I'd like to do before people start dropping off like flies, I'm going to put up my little promotion for my WorkFlowy Academy page. It's simply a link. You click on it, you'll go to my WorkFlowy Academy page. And what will you see there? You'll see a little video with me speaking, saying some stuff. And you'll see some packages of screencasts that I'm selling. I'm uploading them to YouTube. So there's a private YouTube playlist. I've already gotten going on that. I'm a little bit behind. I've got a dozen or so more videos to post for this month. I'm a tad bit behind because I got a little sick, but I'm better now. And I focus on this every day, putting all of my energy and creativity into these screencasts. So there's a WorkFlowy 36 Plus package that you can get for a discount there. All of the screencasts that I'm pre-selling that, by the way, but I've started releasing the videos. And that's all the screencasts that I will ever create, the bulk of them being 2017, and then whatever else I do in 2018. So that's going to be basically, at the end of the day, hundreds of screencasts of all of my WorkFlowy knowledge, stuff I've written about, stuff I've blogged about, stuff I'm discovering right now, questions that people ask me, then I try to wrap my brains around it and find a solution for that. So at any moment, go and take a look at that page. You can bookmark it, see what I'm offering, what I'm peddling. I'm peddling my wares over there. All right, so officially now we've got Q&A. And yes, Wasim, big question. I've been bugging the crap out of Robites for a couple of weeks. And he's going to watch this replay, and he's going to hear this. He's a busy man, like most of you. Probably a lot of you had to get off on your lunch break to come and join this webinar. But he's definitely game, and I'm going to get him one of these days. I think in the next couple of weeks, he's going to be done with whatever he's doing right now these days, the thing that's keeping him occupied. But Robites is going to be on. How do you get those shared lists into our account? Amon. Click on the shared WorkFlowy list that it's not showing there right now, but go ahead and bottom right of your screen, it'll say, there's a little button on the bottom right of the screen once you've followed that link, which says, add this to your WorkFlowy account. Click on that button, and it just embeds it into your account. You have to be logged on in your browser, I think. So someone is saying, remember the milk, I still use, but mainly because I have a backlog of tasks there, and well, it's slightly easier on mobile to add tasks there. That may be true. Tell me, guys, how many of you work predominantly on the desktop? I have the privilege of working at home. I do some English teaching. I work on this is WorkFlowy stuff, the WorkFlowy Academy. But I basically, since the day my daughter was born, about almost 9 years ago, I've been working at home. So I've got access to the internet at home. I'm on my desktop all the time. When I do go out, I sometimes do fiddle around and put stuff into WorkFlowy. But my WorkFlowy perspective is basically on my laptop at home in my desktop browser. And I have to remember that a lot of people do work away from home or on the go a lot. Kenneth says, where are the monthly videos on WorkFlowy Academy? In the next weeks, I'm going to start releasing some complimentary videos on YouTube, and that's going to be on my channel. But right now, I have a private playlist for those who've purchased either the package for January on Organize Your Brain, or the 36 plus package, which is all the WorkFlowy screencasts that I'm going to be doing for the rest of this year. I've given them a shared list. People can download from Dropbox so they can watch the videos offline, or access the private YouTube playlist. But that's where the videos are. On the WorkFlowy blog, I'm going to start popping in some random interesting screencasts that I am creating to sell. But as with anything, with promotion, you've got to give. You've got to sometimes show up and give complimentary stuff. And I really enjoy that. That's what I've been doing on the WorkFlowy blog for some time. So Adrian says mainly desktop and read only on mobile. WorkFlowy is lightning fast on mobile. And Bob says mobile mostly. Bob, thanks for the screencasts that you've sent me. I did showcase one of them in the last webinar. But Beth and Michael are on desktop. I'm curious, how many of you guys work at home? Like you're self-employed or you have an office at home and you have the privilege of working at home? Eric, I'm not sure, that's a very loaded, broad question. How do you organize your knowledge reference material? I don't have strict categories. The very first webinar, if you can go and find on the WorkFlowy blog, the one on GTD basics, you can find it on the WorkFlowy blog. There's a replay. I look at my basic organizational structure according to some basic broad GTD categories, but I don't restrict it to that. I don't have an outline for all of my reference stuff. So I might have a project, and within the project, multiple projects, I've got a section for reference material, to do stuff, notes and whatnot. So my reference stuff is scattered throughout WorkFlowy according to project. Yes, Hima, nice to see you here. You work from home. I had a chat with you on Skype. Hima was one of the ladies who bought the WorkFlowy 36 Plus screencast package. And at the time, I was offering a complimentary 30-minute Skype session with myself, like coaching, stuff to do with WorkFlowy. And I think Hima was the very first person. Bob, I spoke to second. And I saw your work office, your home office there, Hima. Very nice setup. And I don't want to be boasting here. Yeah, maybe I should. I love working at home. You know, I haven't been getting rich, but it's been awesome being at home, watching my daughter grow up. Yeah. So, by the way, those people who haven't contacted me for their Skype thing, those who have purchased some packages, I'm waiting. You got my email, and in the shared lists, I've put a note at the bottom that I've sent out to all of you guys that contact me. We'll set up a Skype session and we'll do some coaching. If we went through Hima's lists, we talked about Eat the Frog. We talked about a lot of her lists and how she structures them. That was a lot of fun. And on Skype, we can do a share, like share your screen. So I don't need any special access to your lists. You don't have to share it with me and make it editable. I just ran through all of this with Ema in real time. I said, click here, visit that tag, put a tag here, and it was a lot of fun. So it was actually the very first time that I was snooping around somebody else's WorkFlowy account. That was fun. I said, hey, go into that outline, and it's like I'm discovering this whole little new world of WorkFlowy and the way other people use it. So James uses the desktop. Okay, let's go on to some Kanban calendar questions. Anything to do task related. Ask me any question you want. I probably know I'll only be able to answer about 50% of it, but here I am. And we can answer these questions together because we have quite a knowledgeable bunch of WorkFlowy users right here. Let's see who has stuck it out with us. 49 people, nice to have you. Let's do this. Let's do some WorkFlowy questions. Ken, will I be resuming the blogs soon? The idea, let me get just a show of digital hands here from you guys. For about a year, I wrote up some posts. I tend to be on the geeky side, and what were long-winded posts, I started to, boil them down to the more essential. And what I discovered is a lot of people don't have the time to read through, or the patience to read through 5 to 10 minutes of a blog post. And so the main idea was doing these screencasts. I was going to, on the blog, promote the webinars, but also post the videos from the webinars and other random stuff. So very soon I'm going to be posting more YouTube videos, embedding them in the WorkFlowy blog. But I do miss doing, I miss this a lot, doing these interviews with WorkFlowy people of all shapes and colors and sizes. It's been fun. I've done a lot of nice, fun WorkFlowy interviews. Anybody who wants to contact me and says, hey, I use WorkFlowy for for this or that, and I use it in this fantastic way, contact me and we'll do an interview and I'll post it on the WorkFlowy blog. It can be a show and tell. It doesn't have to be a screencast. You can put together a screencast for me, but that's to answer that question. Yeah, I love writing, but who doesn't like to go ahead and when you're looking for information, take a quick squiz on YouTube and you've got a 4 or 5 minute video, much more intuitive. But yes, I'll see if I can mix it up, do a bit more writing on the WorkFlowy blog. Oh, Bob, yeah, thanks for the shout out. Bob is awed and amazed at tags, navigating through tags. Yet it was something I wrote about way back, and I've written about it on the blog a couple of times. But you see, there's a case in point for these little simple videos I'm doing. A lot of people click when they see the screencasts, the YouTube videos. And I'm sure that most of them have already read it about navigating WorkFlowy through tags. But that's a case in point for these WorkFlowy videos, these screencasts being a little bit more intuitive. So James worked at home for 2 years, now back in the corporate environment. You must be missing your bed, being able to take a nap whenever you want. So John asks, if you use the Tickler outline where tasks go in the appropriate day, what do the date tags add to the process? Good question, John. You did pay attention you'll notice that in the first outline of my Kanban calendar, the general Kanban calendar, I didn't have tags there. That's just an experiment, which I used a couple of months back, and I decided I'd like to try and use it again. But why would I have tags? I had a copy, a duplicate dummy outline where you saw the exact same Kanban calendar with tags added to the date. I don't rely on those a lot. That was just an experiment. And what I was trying to convey in the, it was the first video, was that a lot of people have really extreme difficulty trying to consolidate personal tasks and project tasks. If you take a project task out of the project outline and you put it into your general miscellaneous personal Kanban calendar, it's kind of like detached. There's ways to link them, and I've written about that in my book, but that attempt with the tags, if you double it up and have tags in the date bullets in the Kanban calendar, if you have some sort of a tag, you do a search from your home screen, your home page, or you have a tag index set up, you're able to not only use scattered, consolidate and filter for scattered tags that are scattered throughout your WorkFlowy account, but also access Kanban calendar. I don't see any reason why somebody who uses date tags cannot use a Kanban calendar, or vice versa, or some hybrid of both. I've seen some really nice hybrids of using tags and the Kanban calendar. So I hope that answers that question. That was mostly an experiment. And as you saw, I was able to click on a certain tag for the 28th of February and access 2 different project outlines with, or 2 different Kanban calendars. Philip says, tag junkies love WorkFlowy. Sam says, future years, how would you display months? Example, March 2017, March 2018. How would you differentiate? That's a fantastic question. And the simple answer is that I don't archive my stuff. As you saw in the first video, once I'm finished with a certain date, I delete it, and the future days just stream towards me. I don't find the need to archive. Some people do. They need to keep records. Give it a good, long, hard think, and maybe you want to change things up. Maybe you don't need to archive stuff. Maybe you don't need to keep those records of years past or future years. So that's half of it. I don't do archiving. Now, how about looking to the future, March 2018? If you saw that physical Tickler file that was patented way back in 1888, that physical set of folders, they don't have years. It's a system of 43 folders, which has all the days of a month, up to 31 days, plus 12 months for each month of the year. But they don't have dates. It's more of a temporary, ongoing Tickler file sort of idea. I don't know. Honestly, I don't have, maybe you guys can tell me, I don't really have tasks that I need to remember or schedule for 2018. And I think that if anybody did, those would be kind of rare, because I'm not even talking about 2018. I'm talking about months down the line. I don't really generally look at what tasks I'm going to be doing, set up projects that need due dates for 2 or 3 months down the line. So the whole idea of the Kanban calendar anyway is that I only have about, if I have 2 months there worth of days, I've only at any one time, I've only got about 30 to 40 specific dates. I don't really need more than that. So I hope that answers that question. I don't need to, I've never needed to for years. I've never needed to differentiate between years. I honestly don't have year tags in WorkFlowy. I work with months, and I thought that was flexible enough if you encapsulate that into a tag. So you have February will be 02, March will be 03. And so you have a unique tag for every single day of the year, but I wouldn't spill over into a new year. Rich says 2017, 02, 23 can be found in results of 02 and 23. Yes, that's good tagging protocol. That's fantastic tagging protocol. So not only can you find for different years, the same day for different years, but you can also just drill down specifically to a specific date in a specific year, 2017. So birthdays are these tasks. Birthdays. I just usually go to Facebook, and Facebook lets me know when I've got friends' birthdays. I pop it into a calendar, a real calendar. I think I've got Rawbites' birthdays somewhere there. I think it's in a couple of months' time, but I put it in a later list. Annual events. Yeah, I think Bob, you're a big one for scheduling way down the line. I had a peek at your WorkFlowy, your Kanban calendar, and I think you've got some outlines for the upcoming months and the upcoming years. But yeah, birthdays. I would just put them at the end of the Kanban calendar. I wouldn't necessarily set up a whole list of months and days so that I could reach 2018. I just put the birthdays in an outline at the end of March or April, and in that outline entitled later or much later, I just put these specific dates. And at the end of every month, I'll just give it a browse and see are there any birthdays coming up in April, May, June, and maybe pop that into my WorkFlowy outline. But don't be scared to use WorkFlowy and a real calendar. I still use a real calendar, Google Calendar, for a couple of things. I don't know if I'm making sense on a whole lot of these things, but I'm plodding along, trying to answer these questions. You'll notice I'm stumbling over my words quite a bit because I've been a sick puppy for these last 2 weeks, and this is mentally tiring. Martin says, you have to leave something to Outlook reminders. How many of you guys, or who of you, feel a need for reminders in WorkFlowy? And explain to me briefly why. Thanks, Philip. Thanks, Bob. Let me show you what I do. I sometimes, no, not sometimes, often I need an audible alert. I do that on my iPhone. So let's say I've got to call for water. I'll do this, basically. Let me remind me in 10 minutes to call for water.
Creating a reminder. Okay, I'll remind you.
So in 10 minutes, I'm going to get a reminder alert. I don't really need water in 10 minutes, but you'll probably hear, those of you who stick around, you'll hear the alert. Remind me tomorrow at 10 a.m. to take a nap.
Creating a reminder. Okay, I'll remind you.
You know, I think if there ever was a person who wanted to try and consolidate everything and keep it in WorkFlowy, I'm one of those. But reminders are one of those things that I don't feel the need to put into WorkFlowy because it's so quick. I think on Android, you have the Android equivalent of what I just demonstrated there. It's so easy and quick to dictate into to Siri, to your iPhone or to your smartphone. You can weekly reminders, remind me every Thursday at 7 p.m. out the trash. And there it is. It's just dictating to it. You check and see that it's correct. And that's all I need because it's so quick. And who doesn't have their cell phone on hand most of the time? Okay, Bob, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us. Wasim, thank you. That's it. Google Now. Google Now, you can dictate. And depending on what language you speak, some of you who are joining us now speak Portuguese or Spanish or Dutch or other languages as first language. And technology is getting good now. I know that about 2 years back, for me personally, it was really exciting when Apple bought Brazil to the iPhone, so I could dictate into whatever application. And so with different languages, this is getting really good. That's a good point. Rich. He says, with a noisy environment, speech recognition is not always reliable. Maybe if you work on a construction site, I don't know. I think maybe I've had good luck. I have this weird mashup of an accent, so I don't speak like an American or a British person, but my cell phone seems to understand me. Lucas says, a little off topic, but anyways, how can I use scripts in combination with workflows? Workflow, I think you're talking about the application called Workflow, not to be confused with WorkFlowy. And you know what might be fun is getting Robites on. He does a lot of interesting stuff that I don't do. And he automates a lot of stuff on his iPhone with WorkFlowy through the Workflow app. And he has scripts that he's created. He's tried to teach me, but I think he gave up on me. But I think he's the guy to talk to. And I think he'll probably come out with some blog posts in due course. But Workflow is pretty powerful. I think for me, it was a little bit over my head, believe it or not. Maybe I just didn't have the patience to learn a little bit of scripting, but there are people doing it. David says, Frank, how about sorting a list of 147 color names alphabetically? I pull in the random list and would then like them in order for easy retrieval. First thing I thought of when you said 147, are you talking about the 147 CSS colors? Maybe this is just a coincidence, but any list you have. I think Robites came out with WorkSorty. So it sorts stuff out. He's got a bunch of extensions and bookmarklets, but he created one called WorkSorty, and it works on a flat list, and it'll arrange everything that you've selected into alphabetical order in Workflow. It'll sort them according to title. Thanks for the link, Wasim. I'm just trying to remember where I saw WorkSorty. I think I actually wrote about it in the new section in my book. If you don't mind me, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and access the PDF on my desktop that I have of my WorkFlowy book, Do Way More in WorkFlowy. And at the end, I think I have a link to sort stuff in Workflow. But keep in mind, this is not different hierarchies of lists. It's a flat list, and I've used it once or twice to actually sort lists. It's a little, if I'm not mistaken, it's a bookmarklet that he's come out with. I did a whole chapter, a whole section on the WorkSorty bookmarklet. Let me see. You know what? I'm going to make a mental note here, or I'm going to pop that link to WorkSorty. Let me just a few more seconds. Where is it? Not only WorkSorty, but Robites has a reference page for a whole bunch of bookmarklets and extensions that he's created. So I'm going to pop that in here for you. Let me just grab the link. robites.wordpress.com software. And in this general list of creations of bookmarklets and extensions that Robites has come out with, you'll find WorkSorty. Let me just paste that in there. And so that it doesn't get lost in all of those comments, I'm also going to include that if you've clicked on the Kanban Calendar resources thing that I left the link to you guys for, I'm going to pop in at the bottom of the list, because why not? There. Robites' creations. And I'm going to pop in that link. So that'll automatically update. If you've added that to your WorkFlowy account or bookmarked that shared list, it's going to be at the bottom there. And you'll find WorkSorty. You might want to tinker with a couple of the other little things he's created. Thanks, David. You've made my day. Who doesn't want to hear you're the best? Wasim says, my biggest motivation is that you have written a whole book in WorkFlowy. Yeah, a number of people have. A number of famous people, a number of screenwriters or book writers. He did. He made a handful of, Rich says also if you use stylish styles, Robites made some great styles. Actually, Robites was the one who got me onto colored tags. He uses solid background tags like I use, but all of the code I got was from people like him who created stuff like this and shared it. And I just tweaked the code and played around with it. But he has a colored tag style that he shares. He's got better bookmarks layout. So, you know, your start pages menu in WorkFlowy, he's got a nice little stylish style that puts it vertically along the left-hand margin. So I think Robites has got like 3 or 4 stylish styles out there. But the one outstanding thing, I mean, I produce a lot of stuff and I share a lot of stuff, but the one outstanding thing about what Robites does is that it's all solid. Like I use all of it. Like I use just about all of his creations except the Google Calendar WorkFlowy integration thing, because I don't really use my calendar much at all. I don't have need for that. But all of the rest of his stuff, I use all of it. All of his bookmarks, bookmarklets, all of his extensions, all of his CSS creations. I've learned a lot from him. And he's got this amazing way of wrapping his brain around certain problems and finding a solution. But I must say that all of the solutions and the things that he puts out there for people to use, really solid. Like everybody should be using them. So Rich says, Frank, are you going to cover WorkFlowy collaboration using shared lists and tags in a future webinar? I most certainly will. In a couple of months, I'm going to be focusing a great part of one of the months this year in preparation for the screencasts that I'm putting out that people are buying. And I'll probably include some collaboration stuff in a webinar. But yeah, tags, using tags for collaboration is some really simple little tricks that you can use when collaborating in WorkFlowy. And it's a whole other world, collaboration. Thanks for the compliment, Philip. Any more task-oriented questions? Or smart WorkFlowy questions? I think I'm going to stick around for another 10 minutes because experiencing a bit of mental fatigue here, having been sick over the last 2 weeks, but keep those questions coming. I'm gonna sign off at 5:15 p.m. my time. So at the quarter hour, I'm gonna love and leave you guys. Don't forget to take a look at the Forever Calendar shared list. You don't want to be typing out Monday the 22nd, Tuesday the 23rd, Wednesday 24th. You want to just copy a whole list of days of the month. Cal, is this the Cal from the Evernote forum? Because I did see a Cal who was from the Evernote forum sign up for this webinar. Anyway, good to have you here, Kel, if that's the Kel. And if you're not the Kel, all Kels are welcome. So Rich says, do you have other Kanban swim lanes other than backlog, doing, and to do? If we're talking about the Kanban calendar, I keep it real basic. I have my Eisenhower matrix. I have about a month of dates, a list of dates. And that's about it. I do have a backlogged list of stuff that I intend to get to at some point in the future, but that's one level higher, and I hardly ever see it. And to be honest, I can't remember the last time I ever looked at my backlogged list of items, because I mentioned in the first screencast that you can push, especially with Kanban. I mean, the sky's the limit. There's no strict rules. Just visualize your workflow, limit your work in progress, and you can push your backlog tasks to the future. So a lot of my backlogged stuff is actually in the future, not only recurring tasks, but let's say I have something I need to do monthly, or something I'd like to do monthly. I'll put it on let's say the 17th of each month, and I'll just keep recycling it. So I don't have it in a list, and therefore I don't need to keep revising lists of things to pull out and bring into my workflow. So it's already an active part of my workflow. But I think that's how I understood your question, Rich. If I have any other lanes for the Kanban calendar, for task management, no. But Kanban is such a broad topic. I think in the second webinar a couple of weeks back, I talked about Kanban. There's so many different layers and ways to use Kanban in simple ways. But I have sometimes backlogged, I have waiting, I have done. I have, depending on what the situation calls for, I might create a new little category just to help categorize and organize and focus on the most important things. Let me just see about some other questions. Philip, you missed the first 15 minutes, which means that you missed most of the first screencast. Yes, there will be a replay. And in the replay, there's going to be a link to the resource list. So you don't have to go and watch through 10 minutes of introduction to get to the videos. You just go straight to the videos, because in the shared list I gave out to you guys, there's a link to all those resources, which includes the YouTube videos. Okay, I think I'm back. I don't know what happened. I got booted out. I got kicked out of here. That wasn't me drawing a line. I think I just got booted out. But this webinar platform's pretty good. It just got me right back in there. Sorry, guys. Any signs of life in the chat room there? What I'm going to go ahead and do is put up the link for those of you who didn't get the link to the shared list. Let me see. I'm going to pop that up again. Kanban calendar shared list. Oh, this webinar started, Nick, this webinar started at 4 p.m. my time, which was about an hour and 10 minutes ago. And I think a few seconds ago, I got booted out of the webinar for some technical reason, but I was able to get back in. I'm not sure if this will be appended to the replay of the first 1 hour and 10 minutes. All right, so if you click on that in the right-hand margin, if you click on the WorkFlowy shared list button, it'll take you to a new tab, and it's got all the resources from this webinar. I might add the replay, but I don't know how interesting the replay is. I don't think people would want to listen to all of this just to get those little nuggets of information. But in that list, you've got links to the 2 videos that I injected into the webinar, some links to a blog post about the Forever Kanban Calendar outline, which helps you to automate lists of dates, Tickler File style, and a couple of other resources there. James says, but now you can still ask your questions. Oh, speaking to Adrian. Okay, Martin, thanks for coming. It's great to have you here. Thanks for shooting me an email as well. And we'll see you around in the next webinar. And maybe you'll contact me for your Skype session that you have, your 30-minute Skype session. Maybe I can help you with 1 or 2 little things in your lists. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up in about 3 to 5 minutes. Any questions? General workflowy questions, questions about Kanban calendar, task management. I'm going to go to about 5:20, 20 minutes on the hour, about 7 more minutes here. Yes, Wasim, the next webinar will be in exactly 2 weeks from now. Thanks, Adrian. Yeah, the idea is to have these webinars every 2 weeks, but yeah, I got a little sick. That happens from time to time. But I must say, I've had a good run. I haven't been sick for a long time, a really long time. And that's one of the great things about living here in Brazil, on the tropical northeast coast of Brazil. It's so nice and hot and warm and tropical. It's got this beautiful ocean breeze. And it's really difficult to get sick and stay sick. But I think I recovered pretty quickly, considering tropical climate's the best. Okay, Sam, enjoy your daughter's basketball game. I'm enrolling my daughter for volleyball. Brazilians are really good at volleyball, so I'm enrolling my 9-year-old daughter for volleyball soon. She's tallest in her class. Let's see if we can get her to one day go to the Olympics in the Brazilian team. High expectations, right? Wasim, I imagine that that's some sort of an expression in Pakistan. Your bread got white, taking too much tension. There's no way for me to decipher that, but it's probably an idiomatic expression you guys have. So I think we got 27 people live still, and probably 90% of those are on a bathroom break or making some coffee. But I will stick around to 20 minutes after the hour. Oh, beard. Let's see if that makes sense. Your beard got white, taking too much tension. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, just swap the E and the R. That makes perfect sense, Wasim. Iman, he figured it out. Your beard got white. Yeah, look at this. I just lost the will to do all the basic things like shaving. But I might just leave this like this. Yeah, my beard got white. Didn't even notice that. I'm going to hit the 40 mark this year. September, I'll be turning 40. AM, got the link for the second webinar. Missed it. AM, this is the AM that set up a Facebook group for WorkFlowy, a WorkFlowy Facebook group. I'm sorry that I didn't join it and haven't been active there. But I do know you bought the WorkFlowy 36 Plus package, and the link that I sent you, in that link, it has like links to the private YouTube playlist, but it also has links to the webinars, the replays of the webinars. So go ahead and take a look there. You'll have the first and second webinar replays up there, AM. Okay, Bob, we'll chat another time. Adrian says, "Oh, to be young again." So I guess he's saying I'm 40 years young in September. Wasim, I think that link expired. I'm going to ask Richard Bird, who is the sort of administrator of that Slack group, and we'll renew that link because I think more people can join. Let me just make a quick note of that here. The Slack group link. I'll pop that into the blog. Let's see if that link works. Well, it works for me because I'm already a member of the group, but it probably doesn't work for others who haven't signed up to the group yet. But we'll try and sort that out. AM, could you post that link here to the WorkFlowy Facebook group? Yeah, that's what it says, Wasim. So I'll have to contact Richard Bird, and we'll get a new link. All right, guys, I'm going to love and leave you now. Have a great Thursday morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. And if you're down under in Australia, have a great Friday morning. It's almost the weekend. And that's it from my side. We'll be back in about 2 weeks with another webinar, a lot more energy, a lot more workflowy questions, and some hopefully decent, half-decent screencasts. So I'm going to say goodbye and get my face off here first so you can stop staring at my gray beard.